Hello, and welcome to this live author interview event with BigWorldNetwork.com. I'm Jim McGovern, joined by BWN CTO Mario Hernandez. Hello, Mario.
Hey guys.
And actually, Mario, before we get started, if you want to quickly review for everyone, like we always do, how they can ask questions if they're watching live.
Of course, so there's a few ways you can do this. You can actually, if you're watching this on Google Plus or on YouTube, you can click one of the links and it'll actually bring you to a question and answers little like widget, and then you can ask questions right there, and we'll see them live, and then we can ask Jared or whoever the question might be pertaining to those questions. And also, if you just want to email us at questions at bigworldnetwork.com. And Jim will get those questions, and we can ask those as well. So, yeah.
Sounds good. Well, we're honored to have as our guest Jared Quan. Jared is author of BigWorldNetwork.com novel Changing Wax and the series Classified, Unclassified, and Pathological Passion with his wife Lisa. Jared, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
It's an honor to have you today. Well, I think I'll get started with a couple basic questions. Where did you grow up, and as a child, did you write very much?
So I grew up in Phoenix, Arizona, and I really didn't start writing until the fourth grade, where I had a phenomenal teacher who noticed that I was a little subpar in that area, and she went ahead and gave me the extra attention. And this happened to match up exactly when the Apple IIe, I know that's dating me, right? The Apple IIe was introduced to schools, and so the wonderful tool of spell correction came into play. And that's when I just started writing, and I don't think I've ever stopped.
That's fantastic.
Spell correct, that #1 tool that everyone uses.
You're not that dated, by the way. My first computer was like a Commodore 64, and so I always ask this, and I find it curious just to hear different authors' favorite place to write. So where do you like to write? Where's the most productive place for you to write as an author?
The most productive place, I kind of have my computer desk set up, so now I'm surrounded when I sit down at my computer with maps of Gettysburg and pictures from Cowboy Bebop and various various things that have inspired me, and then I got a pair of super oversized headphones and I put some music on, and I'm highly productive in that environment.
That's fantastic. You know, it's funny. Some people they have to have some kind of music, or other people zero distraction. Almost has to be a sterile environment. I'm like you. I like to have background music or something.
I've even heard people who listen to like white noise or brown noise or just that static. Like they just need that, and it supposedly clears your mind. Like I don't think I could do it, but
I don't think I could do that either.
Well, music inspires, so it kind of encourages the creativity, I think. So obviously, and actually, if someone's unfamiliar, the format with Big World Network is the episodic series, and of course, all of our novels that we publish start out as episodic series. How does the episodic writing fit with your style of writing?
It actually fits very well. It gives me a chance to really think about, and then to see where I'm formulating things for the reader. And because of the way that you want to carry the readers to the next part, it really makes sure that I pay attention to where we are at the story point. So I really love, and I think my writing does very well with this particular type of writing.
You've narrated some of your series, and some of your series have been narrated by outside narrators. Do you enjoy doing it? And actually, if you do it, putting it to words or hearing it narrated by somebody else, does it influence the direction of your series ever? Does it change? You kind of get what I'm getting at with that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like most people, I think I dislike the sound of my own voice.
Everyone does.
So I
Right.
love that people narrate for me. But yes, actually, it does a little bit. There's certain things I like to hear when I start listening to the narrator assigned to the project. I'll start listening. There's some words or phrases that I like when they say them a particular way, and so I'll purposefully craft those little pieces in there occasionally. It doesn't necessarily change the whole story, but it kind of, I think, gives a fun element to it.
I wonder if Morgan Freeman or James Earl Jones have ever said, oh, I hate the sound of my voice.
Not when you get the paycheck.
Yeah.
I guarantee you that.
That's right. Now, is there anything that you'd like to try to write as an author that you haven't done before?
Yeah, I tell people often that it's my goal to actually try and write something in all the different genres, just to see how good I am at it. And at this stage, I haven't yet done a Western or a romance or a nonfiction. And I really want to actually write. Now, I don't want to do all three in the same book. That would be too challenging for me even. But I really want to take on some projects like that just to see, just kind of to see if I'm any good at it.
Yeah, when you mentioned that, I was going to ask if that included nonfiction. I mean, there's such a difference between our nonfiction writers and fiction writers. Just, I mean, it's right brain, left brain, you know.
Exactly.
So that's a kind of a neat aspiration. I like that. Definitely a challenge. So, real quick reminder to everyone, if you have any questions, again, you can email them to questions@bigworldnetwork.com. And actually, I have a related question that somebody has asked. Which genre do you find easier to write? You know, since we're talking about that.
So, I love the action-adventure genre, and I wished that I was better at the Tom Clancy-like action, but I find it super easy. Well, I shouldn't say super easy. I find it easier to write the fantasy action comedy.
Nope. Yeah, you froze right at the end there. Sorry.
Oh.
So you said comedy's easier or not?
Well, the fantasy action comedy.
Sure.
Yeah, that comedy, and we've had other people say that, is probably one of the more challenging things to write, I think. I admire people that can write comedy.
It's so subjective. Like, that's the hardest part, too, to write something that everybody thinks is funny. Now, that's the trick. Like, you know, you could think stupid humor or dumb puns are funny, but other people will be like, no, this is dumb. I don't want to listen to it.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
Yes, and I'm also always kind of paranoid about that, right? I'm like, am I writing this in here? Is it an inside joke for me? I really want to make sure it's funny.
Yeah. Well, another question we have, and actually I kind of want to add on to this, and it's, do you use social media to promote your work? And if so, what are your strategies? And I do have to say, actually, you know, Big World Network's kind of a hybrid between a traditional publisher and self-publishing. I would say we're somewhere in the middle. But Jared is actually, we have a small marketing team that works with our authors on helping them self-promote and promoting our published novels. So you're one of our experts, so to speak. So it opens up a big kind of general question. But, you know, as an author, kind of what are your views on, or what would you recommend to other authors on sort of the perspective of self-promotion and marketing?
I think social media is vital. I try to use it to the best of my ability. I definitely try to put stuff out on Facebook. I want to make sure that stuff's available on Goodreads. Make sure things are available on my own website. And I really try to promote and push those things. But more importantly, I try to get other people on their blogs and sites to kind of point to the book. You know, to say, this guy, I actually recommend reading this one. And you do that through making connections and actually not just using the social media, but making connections at other events, so that their social media can be used as a tool for you also. And that's one of the things I promote the most.
Yep. And I know you're very active in cons and have participated in panels and things like that. I assume that has the same sort of importance to you.
Yeah, precisely. As a matter of fact, in January, I was at the Comic-Con FanX, the Salt Lake Comic-Con's second convention of the year. They have 2 per year. And I was on a panel with people that I should not have been on. Like, they were all New York bestsellers, and I was there at the end. And I thank them for letting me sit up there with them. But what was great was not only did I get to promote myself to the audience, but the authors I got to meet and talk to, afterwards. We ended up, being on, friends on Facebook, being friends on LinkedIn, and they have tremendous amounts of followers. On top of that, one of them recommended a group to me, and as a matter of fact, I wanted to save it for this event in particular, but as of last night, I've been voted in as the president of the League of Utah Writers, or the president-elect. And so now I'm over the oldest writing organization in Utah. It's 80 years old, and there's a tremendous number of members. And now I'm helping them with their writing, and in return, it's also a stage for me to not just kind of promote myself, but to really help others. And in return, I think that will also pay off socially for myself and the league and the book and Big World all at the same time.
Well, congratulations. That's fantastic.
Yeah,
I did not know that.
Thank you.
That's a surprise. That's fantastic. Well, let me pass it on to Mario to ask you a few questions about some of the specific stuff that you have written.
Yeah. So as we said, we've written actually, I'll say 4 things for us, or with us, I should say. Changing Wax, Classified, Unclassified, Pathological Passion, all very different from amongst themselves and everything, which is great. But you started with Changing Wax with us. And
Yes.
tell us a little bit about that and how that came about.
So Changing Wax, I had originally started writing it, I don't want to say like 7 years, maybe even 8 years ago, and it never worked out. Like I just couldn't get it to go. And when I learned about Big World, I saw an opportunity for me to revamp this story, and in a platform I thought it would fit very well with. So I redid it and started working with Big World. And Changing Wax, of course, is a fantasy comedy. And my favorite part about it is that it takes place in the fantasy world, and I gave it some really fun characteristics, like the world's dictated by a book called the Master Book of Magic that the rules don't always make sense, and it kind of keeps the world in a giant chaos where light and dark are always at war with each other, and the territories are defined by actual darkness and actual lightness. So if you go into the dark territory, there's no sunlight over there, which creates a whole unique set of complications. And then putting some neat characters into it. My very misfortunate monk, my imp who's too smart. Imps, in general, I really wanted to make a story about an imp because imps tend out to be very good characters in other books. And I wanted to make a smart one at that. And so he's too smart, and there's a girl whose family had fought for years on the light side, but because of the rules and the way they work, she's now fighting for the dark side. So all of her principles are kind of mixed up, and it creates a really fun story when the three have to get together and go on this great adventure together.
Right, and on the cover, which I think a lot of you are seeing right now, you can see the 3 characters right there. And I remember when I was making this cover, and you gave me this just kind of template and everything, I ran with it. And it was just really fun, just kind of unique cover. I really enjoyed just kind of taking that into vector and just doing little stuff. And happy that you were happy with it, because that's the most important part, of course.
Absolutely, it's fantastic.
Yeah. Which great story. If you get a chance to read it, please do. It is available to buy as well. So if you want to get a paperback or an ebook, those are available. Classified and Unclassified are on our website now. One's a mini, or they both miniseries, I believe. Oh no, Unclassified is a series.
Yeah, one's a miniseries, one's a full.
There you go. We'll get this right. We only have 100-some series, so let me get this all straight. But yeah, tell us a little bit about those and how they connect and everything. And you start with Classified.
I started with Classified. Yeah, I ended up. I wanted to do. I had the great idea for Unclassified, but I wanted to do two things. I wanted to see how well I could write in that universe, and two, I wanted to give kind of an introduction to the universe. And Classified is a prequel to Unclassified, and it's a story about an agent in the FBI who's a part of their special division, which in this world deals with supernatural occurrences. And from her last mission, she's forced to talk to her superiors about the situation she encountered as a teenager that brought her into this world of werewolves and vampires and supernatural stuff. And that was really fun. Unclassified is the main story, and it starts off. It's the main character is a police officer from Utica, New York. A really young guy, just promising, but he's just a regular beat cop until one day he ends up in a situation with a vampire, and this throws him into the world, of supernatural. And he gets to find out that, of course, the world isn't exactly what it seems. And as he's moving along, he finds out that he just might be, may have been born for the job to fight vampires and werewolves. So it's really fun, a lot of action, a lot of violence.
That's okay. It's a fun outlet sometimes, right? Just got to get that out and everything. So.
For sure.
What other mythos do you pull from? Is it just vampires and werewolves, or what else do you kind of get into in some of these classified?
So, yeah, in that series, I primarily do werewolves and vampires, but there's some instances where I hint that the other things are there, but they don't deal with them directly, at least not in this book series. I wanted to make it so if it became really well that I could write a series that deal with specifically the zombies or specifically ghosts, some of those other fun supernatural things that occur.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's always a huge realm of things, you can definitely dip into, so you won't ever have source material to run out of. So.
That's true. That's true.
And then lastly, but not leastly, we have Pathological Passion, which is one of the newest series with Unclassified that you've done with us. And tell us a little bit about that story and what's actually becoming of that, too.
Sure, yeah. Pathological Passion, it's a future fiction, steampunk, which we thought would be an interesting twist, romance. And it was written with my wife, which is great because we were able to share a lot of ideas. I don't officially count this as my romance because I had a lot of help. But the story is about, it takes place, I want to say 100 years in the future, and the technology company that's dominant at that point is called Zephyrs, and the two main characters one is the CEO, one of the CEOs of the company, and the other one's an intern for the company. And when a project goes wrong, the two end up finding out that that might be the right place for them to fall in love, but not through traditional means. They start sharing dreams with each other, and they're not always nice to each other. So it's a very fun, romantic fiction. And the great news is it's been picked up by independent film company, and it's moved beyond the process of the screenwriting, and now it's in the hands of the people to go get all the money to make it work. But right now we're slated to our goals are to have it premiere at Sundance 2017 and FanX 2017, which is the early convention in that year. So we're hoping that everything goes well and we're able to get it to come out then.
That's fantastic. Are you going to have a walk-on part or play a part in it?
The little cameo, Stan Winston. Stan Lee, sorry.
I think there will be. I think I don't know for sure, but in conversation, don't be surprised if there's a walk-through part or standing holding something but not really doing anything. Right, that guy in the background.
Yep.
Hey, it's something.
Is it crowd-funded?
So at this point, it has private funded at the moment, but I think what we want to do is we have enough money for it to shoot, but really what we want to do is make sure it can be shot well. And so I think their intention is to continue to seek private investors, but to also put crowdfunding on top of that. So if they end up doing that for the last piece, I'm definitely going to let people know about it.
Right, definitely. You'll get some money from us, I'm sure.
I like it.
And in fact, Mario here is going to talk in just a second about your social media, and people can follow and watch for that if that comes up to where you're able to share that information.
Yeah, and of course we'll be blaring it on Big World Network. You'll be all over big banners and everything, you know.
I like it. I like it.
But other than that, and that's fantastic. I mean, that's always like that for some writers and everything. That end, game is the movies and everything. And I wish you the best, and I hope it's going to be great. And we'll be looking forward to it. So, very, very awesome.
Thank you.
Do you have any other future projects? I know you're always writing, so there's got to be some other things, going along.
Yes. I even when I started Unclassified and Classified, I had the blueprints for the sequel to Changing Wax, and I'm fully intended to move forward on that, which I know some people are excited about. I've had a lot of people ask, so when's the sequel coming out? I'm like, well, I'm not working on that one yet. So that's actually my next project is to do the sequel to Changing Wax. Also, I'm working on a really unique project at the moment, which is a choose your own adventure companion to Changing Wax, which I think will be really fun. And it's not going to be the traditional choose your own adventure where there's the route where you die and the route where you live,
Right.
and it all goes to one spot. So I think that'll be really neat when we get to that point. But yeah, definitely working on that project really hard.
I'm not sure if they still do choose your own adventures, but man, when I was a kid, that was the book. Like
That was the thing. Yeah, same here.
And if there's a revival going on, I hope you're at the forefront of that because there needs to be those books again.
There is a historical series that does it now that's pretty popular for kids. That one of my daughters kind of choose the ending in different.
Is it like a nonfiction kind of, or?
It's fiction based on nonfiction, So
Okay.
It could be the historical West, and it has a fictitious situation and character.
Aliens Attack. That's always a good one, right? But yeah, so there's always something new coming from you, Jared, and we always are looking forward to that. And I want to make sure people know how to get in contact with you or if to follow you. And of course, Big World Network will always be doing stuff for you. But do you have any social media that you control directly that they can get to you?
Absolutely. I highly recommend, of course, reaching out to me through Facebook, Jared Quan. It's pretty easy to find me there. But also, I use LinkedIn a lot to not only promote things, but to actually help connect authors with other resources. That's how I use that particular social media tool. So LinkedIn, I highly recommend people connect to me through that tool. I do have a Twitter account. I haven't been as active as I need to be or should be, but I am going to start being more active on my Twitter account. And those are probably the primary ways to get a hold of me. Of course, people can feel free to email me directly, jaredquan@gmail.com, so it's not very complicated. Easy to find.
Very cool. And just to clarify, for your Twitter is twitter.com/JQUAN164, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Just want to make sure that they know that. I'm sure if they did a little search, they find you too. But. And for less of it, we'll turn it over to Jim. And
so yeah, the Big World Network 5 questions, kind of
James 5.
Stolen and inspired by James Lipton of the Actors Studio. I always love that. He always has a set question. But so let me ask you our 5 questions. What do you prefer, ebook, paperback, hardbook, or audiobook for your own digestion of literature?
So I love the feel of a paperback book. I mean I like the looks of a hardbound. I don't mind that being on the shelf, but I'm always too conscious about pulling that out. So paperback's what I love to feel in my hands, but more practically, I listen to a ton of audiobooks. That fills my time between to and from work and other destinations, and so I love audiobooks. I consume a lot of those.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you on paperbacks actually. With a paperback, I don't feel guilty bending the corner of a page, and with hardback, I don't know, it just doesn't feel the same, and you feel guilty if you do anything like that. But paperbacks are just very portable, and I'm with you on that.
Kind of archival a little bit, with those hardbacks and everything, or you just can go green and just do ebooks.
That's one of the things I want to do at some point.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite book? Your kind of go-to that you've read multiple times, or is this just your favorite book?
My favorite book, hands down, has to be Ender's Game.
Mine too.
Good choice.
Seriously,
yeah, I love that book. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I fell in love instantly with the choices that the character, the Ender is faced with throughout the story, and the constant conflict that he was facing in his life, and then of course the end. I don't know if people haven't read it by now.
Or seen the movie.
Right.
Or seen the movie, right? I mean, but the ending was so dramatic that I loved it, and I just fell in love with that book absolutely.
Yeah, it was such an influential book to me, and always has been my favorite book, that I was very slow till I finally, watched the movie. What did you think of it? I wasn't disappointed. I'll say that it was good. How did you feel about it?
And that's what I thought. I thought I'm not disappointed at the movie. I just kept thinking, why not make this one of the Harry Potter movies or Twilight movies? Let's spread it out into 3 movies. I don't mind as a fan, but of course everybody else would fall asleep. I mean, there's pieces that I really wanted to see more of that of course they shrank for time, and there's pieces they cut that I really loved in the book.
Yeah, and they did absolutely nothing hardly with the brother and sister and the whole thing.
Right, they're just kind of there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. One thing, there's 2 things, if we're going to talk about this for a little bit, but there's 2 things that I really just didn't peeve me, because the movie was fun and it was a good adaptation and everything. One, that movie should not have been only an hour and a half. That movie could have been 3 hours and it would have been fantastic, because they didn't spend nearly enough time in battle school. His genius, what he went through and his thought process was, I don't think, portrayed very well. Just he's really good at playing RTS games, basically.
Yeah. I totally agree.
Yeah, and what was the other thing I was going to say?
I do have to say, though, I was worried about the battle scenes. If they did a good job with the CGI and the graphics, and I was really impressed with that they had the capability to kind of, that wasn't a disappointment. As far as the graphics of it, the visuals of it.
For sure.
That final scene, especially because they talk about it in the book and everything, but I actually think the movie did a fantastic job visualizing that battle and punch through and everything. So yeah, very cool.
This is turning into an Ender's Game movie review. All right,
I give it 3 BWN stars out of 5.
That's right.
At least 4.
So next question, the third question: would you live in any of your stories? And if so, which one, obviously?
That's a tough question. I really enjoy the fantasy worlds that we build. Changing Wax is really fun, but it's so chaotic. I don't know that I'd actually want to live there. The future one, where everybody's spoiled and you get to have computer AI assisted. Not everybody, but a lot of people get this neat computer-assisted AI. I'm a huge fan, of course, of Iron Man. It's just something like Jarvis. That's where I would want to live for sure in that world.
Yeah. And the fourth question: who inspires you the most in your life?
I often reflect on though I'm really inspired by my family and my wife. I always go back eventually to my fourth grade teacher, where if she hadn't taken the extra time, just a little bit of extra time to help me along, I really feel like this dream that I'm in now, this world that I'm in now, I don't want to say it wouldn't be possible, but there would have been a slim chance I would have been able to achieve it. So she inspired me a great deal, and I oftentimes think about that when I'm looking for an inspirational thought.
Yeah.
Very cool. Teachers don't get enough credit, that's for sure.
Good teachers, yeah.
Yeah. Good. Oh, yes, good teachers. Bad teachers, if they don't have tenure, pick them up.
Yeah. So this last question, you can pass if you want to, because I'm sure after you answer it, people will be watching for it, since you want to write in every genre. But what is your least favorite and most favorite genres for your own personal reading pleasure?
So the most favorite, I'm kind of torn in the most favorite world. I love listening to action adventure. Tom Clancy, Clive Cussler. I can just devour those books and really enjoy those environments. But that's a really close tie to historical nonfiction. I'm a huge fan of history. I love listening about George Washington or Lincoln or Sherman and Grant. So those kind of tie as my favorite genre to get into. My least favorite, would be the two that I haven't written yet, right? The two that I shouldn't say the two I haven't, because I haven't written nonfiction, but I really am not a huge fan of Western or romance. So this is going to be something that I'm very interested to see how I do, because if I'm great at romance, I'm going to have to read a little bit more romance, and that's not natural to me.
Everybody knows what love is, just gotta let it flow out and just.
Can you cheat and combine the two and write a Western romance, and you knock them off in one shot?
I've considered that. I've considered that storyline.
Yeah, they say kill two birds with one stone.
There you go.
Yep. Well, anyhow, be sure to follow Jared on his series. Actually, we just finished series 4 of, or actually next week will be the last episode for season 4 of, my brain just went blank.
Unclassified.
Unclassified, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll be finishing up episode 12 next week. Or is that this week now? Yeah, time flies. Our season's already coming to a close. And bringing it up here, of course, on our the Big World Network store. Let me share this really quick. We have, you can purchase Jared's book, and as well, Changing Wax is available on Amazon. There we go. So you can order. It's available in Kindle and paperback right now, and audiobook soon, we hope. And of course, you can follow Jared on his social media sites. Thank you so much for joining us. This has been a lot of fun. I've enjoyed talking to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure, Jared. And keep in touch. We'll keep putting new books out.
Absolutely.
All right.
Cool.
All right. Take care. Thanks a lot, Jared.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good day.
Thank you. You too.